Good evening,
Oh, you
everybody. It's all right. I'll do it. If you're not going to jump in, it's fine. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gooner Gathering. I am Gooner Meads, Lee Meadows, for the second time here today. Joined this time by the poshest man in all the sports entertainment, Posh Bertie. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. I didn't know I was doing the intro today.
Cool. We just happen to be in this setup. It's fine. Don't worry.
Okay, no worries.
Professional as ever, mate. No worries. It's fine.
There we go. Fixed it. Yeah, I'm doing very good, thank you. Do you know what? People can talk about the international break all they like. I think it's quite good that I can have a week to not rant about Arsenal and rant about Ebbsfleet instead. But yeah, no, I'm doing great. I don't have to rant about Arsenal for a week. There's no highlights at all. It's a low light. But yeah.
Sorry. I just thought I'd throw it up there just for the laugh. Go on, tell the people what's happened, mate. Go on, go for it.
Oh, I mean, no. What hasn't happened, I think, is the question. I think I know. Yeah, it's not great at all. This was a very important home game against Oxford City, who are below us. This was a must-win game if we wanted any sort of credibility and any sort of chance to go right. You know, try and get some form back again. Anyway, we lost 4-0 at home and got a player sent off. So yeah, fantastic. And I think Dennis Kutrieb's time as manager is over, in my opinion. Look who has just ran in.
There he is. The host of Wrestle Dogs himself, Sam Wilson, is in the house. Hello, mate.
Hey, how are we both doing?
Yeah,
I'm
all
great.
things considered, my friend. Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Good.
You might not be completely up to date with the full SP of my medical situation at the moment.
Oh no, I'm not.
To talk about. This is quite fun to talk about.
Oh Lord.
In a couple of weeks ago, in my efforts to try and get in my flat for a stream with one Posh Bertie, I came off an e-scooter and I've managed to break 2 ribs. So that's.
Oh my God.
Oh my God! Good God Almighty! It's broken.
It's my fault essentially because he had to go for a stream with me. So
that's what happens when you try and be down with the kids, Lee, and try and get all these new fancy e-scooters. This is what happens, you see.
Yeah. I should realise I'm not quite 21 anymore, ladies and gentlemen. So
what happens when you exercise? You see,
exercise. So listen. So this is how this stream is going to go. I was kind of hoping that by the time we were going to go on air, there should have been some Arsenal breaking news. We have been waiting on the verdict of the Mikel Arteta charge, bringing the game into disrepute and all that sort of thing, following the Newcastle game. And as of just after 7 o'clock this evening, I see nothing. So what we are going to do, we'll use this live stream as a little bit of a fun, because we've not really done this before. A bit of a free sort of forum for you guys to have a little chat and talk about the subjects that are going on in football. So, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you, where would you like to start?
I would like to start where the international break finishes, please, and actual football is back.
Okay. Bertie?
First of all, there's already been a verdict on Arteta. He was fined, wasn't he?
No. So my understanding was he was charged with bringing the game into disrepute. He had up until today to respond to the charge, and we need to find, that the ramifications of that would have been a fine, a stadium ban, a touchline ban, all that sort of stuff. And that, as far as I have seen, has not been confirmed. Correct me if I'm wrong, gentlemen.
It was all sorted out on Thursday. That's all I can say on that matter.
I don't actually know what went on, because obviously And the last I saw, there was that big fine that was just ridiculous. And then the correspondence of hearing the VAR, and I don't know, it just screams to me. I don't like to be that person, but it just screams to me that a lot of this is kind of opinion rather than based on actual what happened. Because I don't really see how the VAR can say that ball was in and that ball was still in play. I don't get it, because when I was looking at it, and when I was looking at it when they played it back, and because they showed you what the VAR saw, and to me it was clearly out. So I don't know what planet they're all on to think that wasn't out. And then obviously we know that he then said it wasn't a free kick our way, which again I don't get, because you're not telling me that it's not a free kick if you've got two hands on someone and literally pushing them to the floor. Yes, there is that argument that Gabriel went down easily, but what else are you going to do if you're being pushed to the ground with two hands? You're not going to do any different, are you? I've seen Bruno Fernandes fall over a blade of grass. So if we are going to start that game, then I don't really think that we've got any argument, really.
Yeah. Well, that's fair enough. The one bit that is different to add to this is the TalkSport interview. Don't know if you guys have seen it. I saw a real smidge of this early on. Former chairman David Dean on TalkSport, and his words were quite similar, actually, to Bertie's a couple of weeks ago, saying that the broader picture of that Newcastle game was the fact that we had one shot on goal, and in his day as chairman, they wouldn't be discussing VAR or a refereeing decision. They'll be talking more about how the guys played, etc.
Any other football club would have moved on by now.
Yeah. But anything else to add?
I do think we kind of we do tend to drag on things and kind of go back on things that have happened in years previous. Yeah. But you've got to get on with it, haven't you? The thing is, we can't go back and change it. So we've got to look at it and think, yes, it wasn't great. Yes, we're going to say, is it all a fix? Is it all real? Is it all... But we've got to get on with it and just look to the next match, because you can't hang up and say that in 10 years' time we can't go, oh, let's look back at that Newcastle game. It cost us 2 points. But yeah, we probably will do. Like, that's probably the state of our fan base. We probably will be going back to that 10 years previous.
Yeah. Oh, fair enough. Let's just see who's in the comments right now. AFC always is in the chat. David Dean, spot on what we said. Yeah, absolutely agree, actually. It's a talking point for a couple of weeks ago. I just wanted to bring us sort of up to date tonight, but unfortunately what I wanted to happen hasn't happened. But we will move on. There is something else come out of the news not too long ago. How about this? Have you heard this news tonight? The Premier League teams have voted against a ban on transfer loans between associated clubs. I believe there was one vote short on a ban. So, for example, obviously Newcastle with their association with the Far East and all that sort of thing. There is no restriction on movement of players that may be connected with clubs. What are your thoughts on this one?
Honestly, it's not something that I am particularly bothered about, to be honest. If teams want to loan between teams, then there's nothing really wrong in that. It's just a little bit like they do in the WSL. When it comes to the end of our season, to keep the players match fit, they'll sometimes send them to leagues that are still running in our summer. So Kim Little did it last summer.
States, didn't she?
Yeah. So it's a little bit like that. They're probably going to use it for the same purpose, to keep players fit. And you want your players to be fit. So I don't see why you wouldn't want that to happen, really. It's not going to affect it's not going to affect the Premier League in any way by doing that.
Yeah. Bertie, anything to add on that one?
Honestly, I don't really have anything to say on this matter. It's not something that I've been particularly paying much attention to. So I think I'm probably not the best of people to come to that. So I think Sam pretty much explained what had to be said really there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I'll have
did that
one
happen
thing
with
to
the
add on
Raya
it.
thing then?
Sorry?
Did this happen with Raya? Because he
No, because we don't have
they
an
loaned him to
association.
us.
We don't have an association with Brentford.
So feeder clubs then.
So, for example, the example I'm just looking at now, I'm working off 2 screens tonight. The example, fancy indeed, is Ruben Neves, formerly the Wolves player, highly touted to be one that's on Eddie Howe's wish list at Newcastle. Is at the Saudi club Al Halil, I think it is. So there are no restrictions basically on clubs moving to and fro there at this stage. So that is basically at the moment the reason why this is all brought into public domain at the moment. Of course, Newcastle looking to replace a midfielder potentially with Sandro Tonali banned for 10 months due to betting rules, so breaches of betting rules in matches in Italy. So that's the story there. Let's go on, shall we? Well, I know we don't particularly want to talk about the international games, but is there any point in going through some of the England stuff? Amy, I'll be right with you. Let me just ask the guys a question. I'll be right with you.
To be honest, I haven't watched it. I haven't watched any of it.
Okay. Neither have I.
Well, that's good, gentlemen. Professional as ever.
Yeah, they just even qualifying games. They just bore me to tears. I think it's just the way that England play football as well. It's just so, I don't know, boring. Even they make like our players. They make Saka and Rice even look boring. And that is just anybody that does that and wants that is just, I don't know, a fool. So yeah, I was listening the other day, and actually I'll ask you both this question because they were talking on TalkSport about if Southgate doesn't win the Euros, is that time for him to go? Yeah. Obviously, I want him to go before the Euros even starts because he's just but. They were talking about it at length, and I kind of think they were right in what they were saying. They were all saying that if he doesn't win, that getting to the semi-finals and getting close is not good enough, and that we've got this group of players now that is capable of winning something. I know for a fact it is, but you've got to have the right manager to bring the best from the players, which we haven't got at the minute. So yeah, I just think it's going to be one of those ones that we look back on if we don't win anything with this current set of players. If we don't win anything with this set of players, I don't think we ever will. I think we'll just go into the end of time not winning anything.
Go ahead, Bertie.
So we'll become the Tottenham Hotspur of international football at this rate. Well, at time of recording anyway. I think... No, I do. I think Southgate is holding these players back for England. I think with a better manager, I think we could definitely win the Euros. It's just that we have a manager who is pretty much uninspiring, and the last time he managed a club was in 2009 with Middlesbrough. So that was the last time he managed a club before he managed. Well, went into the England setup. Yeah, I reckon that'll probably happen anyway. I reckon he will go whether he wins the Euros or not. I do think that.
Yeah.
Because his contract is up, I think, and I can't see him re-signing it because he's been there for a while.
Yeah, he nearly didn't sign his last one as well, didn't he? He was kind of umming and ahhing as to whether he was going to sign that. So,
yeah,
I mean, the argument is, of course, that he did bring England to a semi-final for the World Cup, and he also brought them to the finals of the Euros.
we got a
yeah,
very easy draw in the 2018 World Cup.
but you look back at that and you just think, well, it should have won. Like, there's no two ways about it.
I remember.
I
remember the argument in the 2018 World Cup, and I just remember we played 7 games, and I think we only beat 3 teams, and it was like Panama and Tunisia and teams like that. Yes, we beat Colombia back then, technically, but it was a draw, let's be honest. It was a very rare penalty shootout that made us go through there. The Euros, every game we played bar one was at Wembley, and again, we had the more easier side of the draw. The only time we played a big side in a major tournament on like a neutral ground was against France in the World Cup, and we lost. So, yeah, look, we've got an extremely talented bunch of players. You know, the first player I can think of is Jude Bellingham, who I know he's injured at the moment, but he's been one of the best players in the world at the moment, in terms of form anyway. And if we can't win the Euro, it's not the entire world this time, it's only European teams. So if we can't win the Euros with the squad that we have, then it's ridiculous. I just think the manager got an uninspiring manager.
You'd have, if you put the England side into a Premier League team, you probably have the best squad, like, in every single league possible. Like, you look at the midfield, you look at Rice, Bellingham, and then you look at your wingers, you got Saka, Rashford. It's actually unbelievable the depth you've got in each position.
The attack.
So I think that we've got a squad that either 3 of us could manage and we could get something from them because it's just that good. So it's going to be, like I say, we need to kind of cut our losses and say, yeah, see you later, Southgate. You've done all that you can, because he clearly can't do any more. Because if he could have done any more, he would have won something already.
Would you have a name in mind, gentlemen, for someone to come in Southgate's boots?
See, I have always said that Eddie Howe would make a really good England manager, but I know for a fact that his current situation, he's not going to leave Newcastle. Even if a big, hefty amount of money was put on the table, being like quite new in that project in terms of the amount of money and resources he's got now, he's not going to want to leave that. So I don't know. I think this is a really tough one. Obviously, the one that's touted is that Wiegman's going to come over from the women's team, which I think would be great, because she would literally go, right, I'm not having any more like rubbish anymore that Gareth Southgate might have taken. You either play for me or you don't get in the side. So I think that would be really good. But I do also think she wants to win the World Cup first with England, and then she'll move, because she strikes me as quite a stubborn person in terms of, if she wants to achieve something, she will do everything possible to achieve that. So I don't think she'll leave or even think about it until she's won the World Cup as well.
That's a fair shout, mate. That's a fair shout. Just have a quick look in the comments. AFC always saying Arsenal winger would do wonders. With thoughts on that in just I'll get your thoughts on that in just a moment, if you just lost me. Anfield Uncle Rog is in the chat as well. Big up to my G Lee Meadow. Yeah, it's Meadows with an S, but it's close. Also known as Gooner Gathering and panel. I am on Anfield Uncle Roger's channel at 9 o'clock this evening. It's a special guest, which I'm looking forward to. It's going to
Oh,
be
it's
something.
a late one. It's a late one. It's past my bedtime, unfortunately. So
I don't sleep, mate, so it's all good. But so once we're all done here, and once we've all hit the like button and the subscribe button here, and once we've watched my little 7-minute video of the Arsenal versus Brighton video that I did earlier this afternoon, make sure you join us over at Anfield Uncle Rod's, and we'll have a nice little chat over there too. So yeah, Arsene Wenger. It might be a little bit of a long shot on that one. I think he's busy at FIFA, isn't he?
yeah, I'm not really sure that one would particularly work. It would be a good publicity stunt for England, but I also think that would probably be the best thing to come out of it. Would be the kind of the media and stuff they could do around it. But yeah, I certainly don't think that would be a good decision at all.
No.
I think his time in football management has been and gone, really.
Yeah.
I think he was linked with the job when Roy Hodgson left. But I don't think he didn't end up getting it in the end.
So basically, we're saying I do not see it.
No, it didn't happen. But yeah, it would be quite interesting to see him manage England. But now I don't think that's going to happen. I think his time in football management, like I said, has been and gone.
Fair enough.
I don't actually know. Have you got any names, Lee? Because I can't actually think of anyone off the top of my head that is readily available.
Eddie Howe as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to rattle my brain a little bit and thinking of names that potentially might be available. It's a really difficult one, isn't it? I mean, you think of English names, for example. Anyone that's won anything, has done anything.
Sean Dyche.
Oh, let's go back there. Let's do it. Let's go 4-4-2. Yeah. Play a nice long ball up to the strikers.
Is Mike Bassett available?
Yes, I think Ricky Tomlinson is definitely free. And baby, be careful for crying out loud. Oh, I tell you what, it's very difficult to host a podcast when you're daddy dutying it as well. But we are all good. We just watched the scenery break behind me.
Dedication to the cause.
For the Gooner Gatherers, that's what we're doing it for, mate. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking the likes. I mean, it's the typical names, isn't it, that you're going to be thinking of? The likes of an Ancelotti is the top dog that
he's going to Brazil. He's going to be the Brazil manager when he leaves Real Madrid at the end of the season. That's all said and done as well.
Oh, is that a Posh Bertie exclusive, or is that a?
No. I think it's all been agreed.
Here we go.
Since last year, he'll get the Brazil job.
Okay, fair enough. Well, at least he gets some nice weather over there. That's the important thing. But look, here's the thing: we're not going to have a decision on an England manager until the summer next year, anyway. So I'd suggest we sort of move on from the manager talk a little bit. I'd like to focus a little bit on if you two were the England manager, just say, and you were to give a player a debut, would you be playing them in their correct position, or would you just chuck them at left back, just like Southgate did to Rico Lewis yesterday?
Oh, I thought you were referencing I thought you were referencing Germany there.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that in a minute.
It's just another one of his inept kind of decisions, isn't it? Like we could go back and we could go and do this about so many different things, couldn't we? That he's done over his time as England manager. And you could make I think you could go as far as making a short story / book about it. So yeah, it's just another one of these things. Obviously, I didn't watch it. Obviously, I don't know a great deal about him, to be fair, other than his club and stuff. But yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. Like I say, we've got players that can play in that position and probably more than one. So that makes it even more bizarre.
I can only imagine he was playing at left back as a result of Trippier being injured. I understand he was back training for Newcastle today, but I'd seen Lewis play at right back. I've seen him actually for the first time I saw in his career. He played in midfield against us at the Emirates, and I made a point of mentioning that on that live broadcast. And you know, he did okay in all fairness, but for him to be stuck out there on the left-hand side, look, Southgate is saying all the right things, I guess, as a manager, by saying, "Oh, he did really well, and he's very adaptable, and all this sort of thing." But honestly, was there no other? You know, left back with the left foot is always a good idea, isn't it?
You can even go as far as going like putting like a Saka in left wing back or something, or like there would be your more kind of. I know it would be a waste of his talent and everything else. I get that part, but that would be the more logical. But again, that would require him to play 5 at the back, which is too dangerous territory for him. He can't do anything that's modern. He's got to go in his play styles from the 80s or 90s and just can't do anything modern or 3 at the back. Or
there's nothing wrong with
like
that. It was acceptable in the 80s. Bertie, anything to add on this?
I obviously I didn't watch any of the England games. I've got better things to do. If it's during the Euros itself, that's when I'll watch it. But I just think that this is a squad that should be winning the tournament, but whether we will or not with the manager we have at the moment, yeah.
All right. Let's just say hello to Devil. There he is. United will win the league. Which league would that be? The Europa League? Good to see you, Devil. Welcome back. It's nice to have you here, mate.
We could invite them to the Emirates Cup. They might have a chance of winning that one.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
That's our competition. No.
This
the
is
only you win.
Fair enough. So look, I brought up Lewis playing at left back, and it kind of goes into my next point. And do you know what? There is no one better to talk about this person than my illustrious colleague. What do you guys make of Kai Havertz playing at left back for Germany?
Well, he actually scored. He actually scored, which was the more mental thing. That was more crazy than where they played him. Because I'm pretty sure, like I mentioned last time I was on here, that he's doing everything possible not to score. Because some of the chances that he has and misses, almost it's like he's really trying and he's going, right, how can I make the fans be on my back anymore? Oh, I just miss every single like gilt-edged chance that I get. So it's a bit. Is it going to be like this Xhaka thing again, where they go, "Oh, Xhaka is amazing for Switzerland," and then he comes into the Arsenal team and he's just mid until the last season?
Thank you for saying mid. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I love the fact that AFC always is calling him 29, as we did for Xhaka at 34. I think that's hilarious. It's like an ongoing joke.
The torch has been passed.
And it's just, and I know I say it, and I've kept saying it, but I think this will go down as the most pointless signing that Arsenal have ever made. Because it's just, when I sit back and when I think, which isn't very often, but when I do, I just think to myself, what was going through anybody in the club's head to go, do you know what? I know a player we need, Kai Havertz. Like,
It's because there's a clause in Edu's contract that he must sign a Chelsea reject. That's what it is. We'll get Cucurella next season.
It's just absolutely shocking because when we look at our squad, the only thing really that we now need is another central defensive midfielder because Partey unfortunately is injured all the time, and a striker. So what do? We spend 60 million plus that could have been spent on a striker.
It's going to be a bargain.
On a player that did well in another country, came over to the UK and just flopped. I have never seen it. It's like signing someone. I remember when we signed Kim Kallstrom on loan, and he came in with an injury. It's basically like doing that because he's been that bad at Chelsea. He may as well be playing with an injury because he might play better than what he does currently without one.
And you've got all the fans trying to scrape the bottom of every barrel imaginable when it comes to 29, going, look at the off the ball field tilt flick-ons layoffs that he's had. Look at how brilliant that is. Again?
Oh, for the love of God.
It's just no, I do think this is, it's just I do some questionable things day to day, and I have done. But this just tops everything that I will ever do to sign a player that I don't know. I just don't know what were they watching. Did they just, when they signed him, did they forget about his whole career at Chelsea and just go back and watch YouTube highlight videos of when he played in Germany? Because I think they must have done, because if they didn't, yeah, it's just, I don't know, because the problem is, the more and more he plays for us, the worse and worse he's getting, which then means the less and less money we'll be able to get back. And then we'll have an Ozil situation all over again, where nobody wants him, he's on massive wages, and we're just stuck with him until he goes on a free. That's literally going to be the story of him in an Arsenal career. He's just going to leave on a free, but we're just going to have to grin and bear it for the next, I don't know how long, and I hope it's not very long at all because I can't cope with it.
Amy, what do you think of Kai Havertz? Is he good? He's good, is he? Do you think
you're watching? I think you're watching a different game of football to me, Amy. To be fair.
Hello, Nick. Welcome to the stream.
Yes, Lee's brother is in the chat saying he scored for Germany this week. Yeah, and they also lost. With Havertz.
They lost 3-2, didn't they?
Yes, at home to Turkey.
So you're saying they got a good stuffing?
It's almost as bad as England drawing to North Macedonia, really, isn't it?
Absolutely right. Absolutely
right. Both playing the wrong type of player at left back as well.
So you don't think he's going to play left back for Arsenal anytime soon, no?
No, unless it's left back in the changing rooms, which I'd like.
I was waiting all day on Friday for that to come on my Twitter page, and Bertie let me down.
Well, yeah, look, we'll have to. If he starts Kai Havertz at left, I mean, you know what? Arteta loves a bit of inverted stuff, doesn't he? So it probably will end up.
Who doesn't like a bit of inverted nonsense?
Yeah, don't worry about Tomiyasu. Just put Kai Havertz there on Saturday evening. Why not?
Let's just bring in Uncle Nick here, saying, I am pretty confident he'll come good. He's been playing better the last few weeks. And Nick is absolutely right.
Are we going to say that for the next 2 years? Are we going to say for the next 2 years every single week, oh, he's going to come good, he's going to come good, he's going to come good, he's going to come good?
Have I ever said them words to you, sir?
No, you haven't.
You
haven't. But other fans have.
So then stop it. All right?
I'm just using an example.
I've never seen a player get worse week by week.
That's not true.
It is. He's had one since we've signed him. He's had one good moment at Man City, and then the rest has been subpar, just poorness. I don't know how else to describe it without saying words that can't be said. but
No, especially
it's
if
just
baby's right here.
completely shocking. It really is. I don't know how he's stealing a living playing football.
Meanwhile,
Well.
you've got Mohamed Kudus and James Madison. I mean, Madison's injured. I get that, but you got players like Kudus
Gets
as
injured
well,
a lot, doesn't he, Madders?
who's scoring goals for fun. Well,
You
putting
could
good
probably
performances
list
week in,
about
week out.
15 players that would have been better to sign than Kai Havertz. Like, you could probably go on and list hundreds of players. You could even probably go down to, you could probably even go down to Ebbsfleet and Lincoln and pick better players that would actually try a lot better.
Not
than-
Ebbsfleet, not the way we're going at the moment. But
They've got a big match tonight, mate. They're going to do any better tonight, mate?
I highly doubt it. We'll have to wait and see. Not with Dennis Kutrib as the manager, I don't think. 29 running away from the ball every match. Wrong runs, hides behind opponent instead of giving solutions. And he also, Sevilla and Burnley both missed a sitter. So, I don't know. Can we not talk about him anymore?
No. Just every time I mention of his name, I just get like this burning sensation in my chest, and it just makes me rage like nothing else at the minute.
You do know I'm trying to host a podcast here, Amy, right?
I get the Posh Bertie Twitter rants going through my head as soon as I hear his name. It's just...
You don't want that in your head. You don't.
Absolutely. It's a highlight.
That's bad stuff for your health, that does.
Absolutely. All this being said, when Kai's done this lovely interview on Arsenal.com today, saying he's found himself a family at Arsenal.
Wonderful.
You two should be ashamed of yourselves.
You can go and walk Win the dog, can't he?
If he can get it off Cedric Suarez, yes.
Yeah.
I am going to have to leave you guys just for a minute. What I think I'll get you to do, just for the moment, I'm going to lift the controls to Bertie. Just have a little talk about, the Brentford game coming up on Saturday. I will be right back with you in just a moment, all right?
All right, no worries.
Thank you very much. I'll see you in a mo.
No worries. Yeah, so our next game in the Premier League is against Brentford on Saturday at 5:30. I don't know if we'll be doing a watch-along for that because it's on TNT Sports, and that might be difficult because Lee doesn't have that. But who knows what may happen? We'll have to we'll find out about that in due course, I reckon. Brentford away, tough place to go. I mean, we did beat them in the Carabao Cup with a fully rotated squad. What do you see happening in that match? Do you what do you think?
I don't think it'd be easy, like you've alluded to. I don't think it'll be a game with many goals. I think normally when we play Brentford, it's quite cagey. It's quite kind of.
Last season, we beat them 3-0. I remember. Fabio Vieira scored that thunderbolt.
But normally it's fairly. I think it takes kind of you get your moment to score, and that's what ends up winning the game. Sort of games when we turn to play Brentford. I think, it's not going to be one like I say with many goals in it. I don't like to say anything in terms of whether we're going to win, lose, or draw because I don't blame myself if something happens. But yeah, I think it should be a game that we're confident about going into.
Yeah. If we're serious about a title challenge, these are games we should be winning. Yeah,
it's one that, you should be really doing with ease. But I don't think that's going to be the case because obviously Brentford are doing quite well. And they always seem to be a team that we sort of struggle against as well. So it will be a good game of football for a neutral to watch, I think. But I think this is one of the ones, that you should be winning quite comfortably. But I don't think it'll be that way.
No, Brentford away is always a bit of a banana skin, really. Nick Meadows 3-0 win again, but it'll take time to wear them down. I hope we get a good 3-0.
Because we could do with it because our goal difference is a bit away, isn't it? So, I think we could do with a few goals, but
one of those games where we might get a scrappy 1-0 to the Arsenal, but I would take 3 points against away at Brentford, regardless, because it is a banana skin team, really, as I mentioned.
Mhm.
Tough game to go to. Thank you for taking the reins just for a moment. Have you talked about the potential team news as such just yet, mate?
Not really, no.
All right. So on the back of the debate that you guys had about the Ramsdale thing, have you had any further thoughts? Would you be playing Ramsdale on this one? Obviously, Raya's not going to be allowed to play in this one on Saturday.
I mean, I would, yeah, because I don't really want Carl Hein in goal against Brentford. So, or Carl Heinz tomato ketchup, I like to call him. I don't know if Sam knows that. But yeah, no, I probably will start Ramsdale. Although, to be fair, they'll take advantage of him not being able to concentrate for 90 minutes. But no, look, I think he will. I think he will play, and I think hopefully he'll have a good game. Question for Sam here, though, from AFC Always: are you the one that goes on TCG TV? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is, so therefore, if I don't know what it is, I don't go on it. I don't know what that is, to be honest. So unless there's a doppelganger of me somewhere, it's not me.
He got sent off, didn't he? Fabio got sent off, didn't he?
He did, actually. Shocking tackle. He's stealing a living from me, that man.
Just to address my brother, if you want to jump in, Nick, that link is for you, mate. So if you want to jump in and have your say, please jump in. AFC Always is kind of thinking how I'm thinking. Can't see Ramsdale playing for Arsenal again. And I tell you what, for the comments that came out on the Ian Wright interview, for the comments that came out on the other interview of the Highbury squad by his dad as a disciplinary issue, I'm not sure. The timing of it couldn't have been any worse for me. And credit to the Highbury squad for asking the difficult questions and everything. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's a very, very difficult one to jump into.
Yeah, it's just a real shame. Like, I don't think there's anything else other to say than it's just a real shame, because I really like him as both a goalkeeper and as a person. I think he's a really good person to have around the team. He demands more from the defenders and the whole team when he plays, which is what you want from your goalkeeper. You want them to pull the defenders up when they're not in the right place. You want him to kind of say, look, you're not good enough. Like, you need to step up, because you need that from a goalkeeper. You look at the greats that have been Arsenal goalkeepers, and they've all had that kind of. They've all been highly respected, and they all
presence,
and have that presence and that kind of, and have the bottle to kind of say, do you know what, we're not good enough at the minute. So yeah, it's a real shame, because I don't think Raya has that sort of presence around the team. I don't think he's respected as much. It's just a real shame. I'm going to hate to see it, because I know for a fact that he'll go to someone that, has a direct impact on us. It always happens, doesn't it? So, it's just gutting.
Yeah.
Because I honestly think he could have gone down as like one of the best goalkeepers for Arsenal if he'd have played all the time, and I don't see Raya doing that. I'm not saying Raya is a bad goalkeeper by any stretch of the imagination, but would have rather had Ramsdale in goal.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, it is what it is, I suppose.
Just I should have recognised the initials. Tony Claude Gunner TV is the one that AFC was always talking about. Good guy, and go subscribe. He's got a great channel. I've seen him with our friend quite a while, quite a long time. And Nick saying exactly what I said. AFC always saying what I was saying earlier on. Nick Ramsdale made things a lot worse. Absolutely. Jordan is in the chat as well. Good evening to you, sir. The other thing that concerns me about the Brentford game coming up is the fact there's still internationals going on. There's a rather big game in Brazil going on as well. You're familiar with Brazil versus Argentina going on. I believe that's on Wednesday night. And it concerns me whether Jesus plays, Martinelli's presence, Gabriel Magalhaes' presence over there, and the impact that might make on our Saturday tea time kickoff selection.
I don't think Jesus will play. But Martinelli and Gabriel might.
Yeah.
So,
Martinelli, of course, with his first Brazil goal over the weekend.
yes, apparently so. So good for him.
Yeah. Sam, anything to add over there, my friend?
No, nothing at all, really. I think you've kind of covered that and all that needs to be said, really, about that.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. But moving on. Let's stick with Arsenal stuff for just a moment. I covered the ladies' game against Brighton earlier on today. I just want to get Sam's point of views regarding Beth Mead first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
Her first start for Arsenal ladies team in exactly a year, and the fact that she's been called up alongside Russo and Ruben Moy in Serena Wigman's England squad today.
Yeah, if all three of those players are fit, obviously Lotta won't. It will be used as like a centre back if the others are out. But yeah, it's good to have international players playing for your national teams anyway. It's just pleasing to see obviously Beth back. It's been kind of a long absence, but you can see how much of an impact she has on that team when she came in at the weekend. And yeah, it's just good to be slowly getting that squad back, and they're sorting to. I know we spoke about it the other week on the video, and I sort of alluded to that we've got such a good squad now, but we can't kind of get them to gel. But at the weekend, it did very much like they were gelling, and I actually do think this is potentially the start of where we can seriously put Chelsea to the wire of the league, really. I know there's still 2 points in it, but I do think if we can get this squad working, that we can seriously push them.
Yeah. Obviously, our competition, obviously Chelsea got a big win against Liverpool on the Saturday. Arsenal ladies' best or maybe chance of a victory is potentially in the Conti Cup again, which they won last term. They got the game on Thursday against Southampton. Do you think that'd be an opportunity for them to maybe use the likes of Mead again in terms of getting her up to speed? Potentially Mead and Mark coming in.
It's an opportunity for the players that are on the fringe of being in the team or not to kind of stake their claim in that competition. I think it's a good opportunity for anyone that's kind of getting a game in that competition to say, look, here I am knocking on the door for the first team. So I certainly think it's going to be interesting to kind of see. I think because Lacasse came on towards the end, I think she'll start. Palova's playing out of her skin at the minute, so I can't see her not starting. And then you'll have a couple. Maybe you'll have Jen Beattie playing at the back. It'll be a nice change team, I think, from the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Just trying to get my eyes on something else. The only other thing I really wanted to talk about tonight really was we've not discussed this at all on our channel yet. Okay, hang on. What do you make of the Arsenal player? Okay, yeah, I can talk about that. Scoring 10 goals in one game.
It's nuts.
Absolutely. I'll see if I can find the kid's name. It's a Danish player, isn't it? If I
Mhm.
putting me on the spot here, mate. Let me see if I can find the. Thank you very much. So my understanding, it's not here.
Chido Obi, that's his name.
Only playing in that game because he's I think the higher up age team weren't playing as a result of some of the internationals and stuff going on. An absolute incredible scoreline going on there.
Yeah, it makes me wonder though if there was a opposition team or not, because it takes an awful lot for a player to score that amount of goals, really. What did the game finish in that game?
It finished 14-3.
14-3, wasn't it?
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't think he played, no. This and other bad.
No, that's impressive. So, yeah, maybe this is he's the striker that we've been crying out for all this time, and
honestly, if his name came up at the weekend and Kai Havertz weren't playing, I'd commend Arteta. I really would.
Listen, he could start Sebastian Squillaci, and I'd
This is the reason. Now, Nick has just said a very, very good thing, and I'll put this. Oh, sorry, I got it. Nothing like putting pressure on the youngsters at an early age. The very reason I wasn't necessarily going to bring it up, I found it really interesting that some big name Arsenal YouTube personalities were making a real big thing of this story, and it was against Liverpool. There you go, says AFC always. But you're right. It's one thing doing really well in academy games, I know the guy's getting a big build up from some of the I think even Wrighty might have said something about it, but I think I would urge on the side of caution on this one, because it could be very easily come into the next Ian Wright, or you could very easily come into the next Franny Jeffers site. We've seen so many fall away.
What's wrong with Franny Jeffers? That put some respect on his name.
All right, then go on then. This is a free platform. I know.
But yeah, it's just
there you go. There's another one.
Thing that makes me laugh though is that I'm not naming anyone in particular, but like a lot of the other people that talk about him will go, "Oh yeah, I've known about him for 6 years coming through the academy," and you look at them and you go, "You don't make out that you do," because before Saturday, I don't think anyone really, unless you seriously follow the academy, which is really tough because they're never on anywhere. You can't make out that he wasn't known by anyone before the weekend.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, fair play for someone doing an achievement like he's done, but like I said, I don't think it'll be any more than 2-3 years before we might even see his maybe feature in the Carabao Cup or whatever. I reckon his teachers knew him from the academy. That's a good shout, Nick. I do want to touch, moving on to the other side of Liverpool briefly, the big story that has been going around, the fact Everton have been deducted 10 points as a result of their financial fair play irregularities, etc.
My heart really bleeds for them, to be honest. I'm ever so gutted. I think it's a bit.
I know sarcasm when I hear it, son.
I think it's a little bit cruel, to be fair. I don't know what you guys think, because again, I was listening about it, and in the grand scheme of things, yes, when you do wrong, you do wrong. But the number that they've got is 19 million. So if you look in in terms of how much money is thrown around in football, especially the Premier League, you think to yourself, although it's still a massive amount in terms of the Premier League and how much money each team spends and how much they lose, 90 million is not a massive amount of money. And to get deducted 10 points, I think it's a little bit harsh. But yeah.
It is. I mean, there's quite a bit we need to just make sure we're all familiar with here. There's a bit of a difference between what's going on at Everton, say, and the ongoing situation with Manchester City. In that, so Everton did plead guilty on their front to breaking rules, etc. The argument will be made here that the punishment, does that really suit the crime? Say it seems an awful lot to punish the club for and punish the fans for. It'd be a dreadful way of a club like Everton to be really punished and taken down the league. So if that's what happens when they've been Premier League stalwarts for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, the big difference here is that obviously, without knowing the entire story and sort of putting my eyes through it as I'm trying to talk to you, it's the big difference here is, of course, that Everton have pled guilty to it, whereas the offences of Manchester City, all 115 of them, are still under investigation over I think a 5-year sort of time frame, etc. Still ongoing. Of course, they are pleading their innocence as well, which means that the amount of paperwork to get through, and I think the important word to use is conclusive evidence on that one. That's where that story will evolve, and I don't see it being sorted out soon. Just obviously the question's been asked about Chelsea as well in this situation. As far as I'm aware, at time of recording, although it's being investigated with Chelsea and the FFP, I don't believe they've been charged with anything. Is there anything
not
to
that I'm aware of,
lots to take off from what I've just said there, mate?
All I'm going to say is people that are hoping that Man City are going to get relegated all the way to League Two, keep dreaming, because they'll hire the greatest lawyers ever, and I think they'll probably start a season with a transfer ban and maybe a points deduction, but I don't think it'll be as far as getting relegated or getting all of their trophies stripped, because you can't erase history, can't you? So, yeah.
Nick saying if that's what they give Everton for one breach of the rules, what they're going to give City for alleged 120.
Well, it's an alleged slap on the wrist. That's what they'll do. That's what they'll
and they were trying to blame Tottenham for not paying Richarlison. You bring up Tottenham. I understand. Now, I don't know how accurate this is. I want to research this more before I talk about it more. A bit of talk about the FA investigating that this is a long historic transfer gone back. Jermaine Defoe, Portsmouth to Tottenham. Whether that was within the rules and stuff as well. I don't want to sort of go over this because this is a lot of allegedly and a lot of, he said, she said kind of thing. But, I mean, certainly a historical case like that one, Jermaine's now well retired. And it's, I can't, was that 2000 and I'm going to hesitate to say about 13 or 14. So, yeah, I don't know. But obviously, a lot of fans are saying that Everton getting punished for doing what they're doing.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Thank you.
And the FA appearing not to do anything about Manchester City. Say, I don't think it's as easy as that. You said that I'll probably get a slap on the wrist and everything, Poch. I don't know about that because just historical stuff that's gone on. Look at Juventus took a massive punishment and relegation and had titles stripped away for wrongdoings over in their league. And the same sort of thing happened to Glasgow Rangers not too long ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's very much a case of watch this space. All right, I've got Sam coming in. Oh, you got it. Thank you.
Mhm. Yeah, it just got rid of me there, so there we are.
It wasn't us kicking you out, mate. I promise you that.
No, it's all right.
No, it wasn't.
Nick jumping in and saying, where tonight also there's been lots of exceptional circumstances. Of course, there was COVID, which affected everybody, but they also had the Umanov and the new stadium to take care of. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah. Transfer ban for City and a fine is pointless. They need to hit City hard, put them in League Two, or take away all their trophies they've won. Now,
Can't take away trophies that they've won because you cannot erase what's happened in history. So
delete.
yeah, you can't you can't take away something that's already happened. So in football anyway. So
yeah,
you can't really take away trophies. But you know, as much as I'd like to see them be put in the conference with Ebbsfleet, I think I can't see it happening, I'm afraid.
yeah. I think Nick means to say, unfortunately, I think they've been reckless in their spending. I think that's what he's trying to say. You definitely can't take the Everton trophies away. That's the kick them while they're down, mate. That's the way. Fair enough. Is there anything else? Yes, I have written down something else I'll talk about before we head out of here. And it's I'm going to quote OSW review just a little bit for the Chicka Chicka Hall of Fame. This is to do with the ladies' game. So I'll bring in our resident expert here, Sam, just to bring us the news that Anita Asante and Ellen White were inducted into the WSL Hall of Fame over the last couple of days. Of course, Asante played her last professional game. AFC for always, I'll get to you in just a second. Played the last game at Meadow Park, actually, against Arsenal. And of course, Ellen White, with the induction, I think it was 3 seasons at Arsenal, 39 goals and 72 appearances. Your thoughts on both, please, sir?
Obviously, 2 names that you've got to go in there. And yeah, it's good that they're having this kind of Hall of Fame type thing, because it allows fans that have maybe watched over the last couple of seasons then go back and look at some of these players that have been inducted. So yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Ellen White, of course, instrumental in the Lionesses. Yeah, I've got it. I've seen it. Ellen White, instrumental in the Lionesses Euros win a couple of years. It's a year ago now, isn't it? Playing every game, and maybe I think had Serena's back in as well. That always started out. She might not have scored, but was doing a job for the team on that front. Yeah, I was just going to read it, Bosh. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Without sort of going into people's medical records and stuff, just want to say wishing all the best to AFC for always. Who's obviously got an issue to deal with. So just want to send best wishes to you, and let us know what the situation is. Give me a message over on the X if you want to, mate. Obviously one of our biggest followers are always in the chat all the time.
One of our
we
regulars.
appreciate you. Absolutely. So we're just hoping everything's all good with you, mate, and we're thinking of you. Yeah, I think that just about wraps us. I think for today. Let me just make sure I haven't missed anything down the bottom there. No, I haven't. So that being said, I don't think Havertz has scored for Germany again yet, but we'll look forward to discussing the Havertz situation again coming up real soon. Keep an eye on our social media channels for everything that's going to be going on with Gooner Gathering over the week. As mentioned, I'm on Uncle Roger's channel at about 50 minutes time, 90 minutes away. Possibly going to be on Gooner Gathering TV on Thursday. That's Sophie, of course. But again, I will put everything on our social medias. Before I disappear, guys, let me take that one away. Sam, would you like to give your YouTube channel another shout out and tell them where they can find you, please?
Yeah, so before this, I have a wrestling channel that I run with one of my friends called Wrestle Dogs. It's going really well. I also have an event on Friday evening, which I am with my friends DJing in Leicester. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm going to be doing. If only it was that easy. But yeah, that's on Friday. We've sold quite a lot of tickets for it, which is really pleasing. So that's that. And yeah, that's it. And obviously, you can find me on Twitter, which I never use. I just basically use it now to go on now again to see what Posh is ranting about, really. Because other than that, it's just Arsenal fans being either speaking about VAR, speaking about the referees, and it's just not, because I just don't get any enjoyment from it, really. So
I think we're the only
there we
football
are.
club with a fan base that wants to know who the referees are before the match begins.
I know, and then we'll go back and we'll look at what team he supports and what he had for his tea the day before, and like it's just daft, really. But yeah, there we are. So if you want to find me on Twitter, it's Sam Wilson with the one in the space of the I. Sam Wilson AFC is the Instagram, which is more kind of active, let's say.
Fair enough. My broadcast colleague and Kai Havertz's #1 fan, Posh Bertie, it's all yours, sir.
I think I'm his own. I think I'm. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at Posh Bertie. My Instagram is at BertieOneless. And yes, you could. As I said, you can follow me on Twitter, mainly moaning about Kai Havertz and Arsenal most of the time. And you can find me on this channel as well,
which you can find on the X Factor at Gooner Gathering. You can find my channel, my page at Goonerly Meads. You can find me here, there, and everywhere. Don't forget to look at our TikTok channel as well for all the silliness with all the fun music and all that sort of stuff.
And also,
yes,
just quickly, you'll both be in the next couple of weeks. We will have a live stream on the channel of Wrestle Dogs where we will have both of you in to discuss everything War Games. So yeah, that will be a cool little crossover. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
We'll be the big dogs.
I can't wait for it.
That'll be good. So make sure you give Sam and his buddies a subscribe over there on Wrestle Dogs. I'd probably put it in post in the description later on if you need a link to find it. So that sort of brings an end to our stream this evening. Thank you all for watching. On your way out, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, everybody, and we'll see you soon.